Hi, welcome. And on this video I'm going to discuss how to take back the walk, how to get your dog to walk as a follower on the leash, and even getting your dog off leash as well. So this video here I'm going to cover some key points here with application of method, with the technique that is used to help you get the walk back. And so here I'd suggest that you watch my video Circle Method. Okay, the Circle Method technique, that lays the foundation stones for taking back the walk. That gets the start. That starts to get the dog into a follower position, follower state of mind. So again, it's body and mind connection. Okay, and it's bringing your dog under a level of influence. Okay, and then as the foundation stones start to get changed out, then you can focus more on straight lines, on getting the walk back. But here in this video, I'm going to talk about the technique, how to incorporate it into your walk. So when you're doing the walk, just understand the first thing is the difference between, you're talking about mind and body. Okay, so this is the thing. So before, our focus has been on body, on the physical. Okay, which reflects, right? Physical is, we're focused on getting our walking distance, on distance, just how far we go. And comes off distance is what? Exercise. Okay, this is the thing of understanding where the focus usually is in. Okay, why, you understand mind and how you get connected, but understand the connection, understand the relational issue. Okay, you can be meeting the exercise criteria, but understand dogs are more than body. Okay, they're mind too. So therefore, you could be expelling energy, getting your dog getting exercise, but be not doing nothing to help the relational side of things. Okay, that's why the walk itself, you could be exercising your dog all day long. You could even put your dog, on a treadmill even, and not have much of an effect. But the thing is, the reason, if you're bringing online what some trainers say, Stephen Long calls it, like discipline, and you're running with your dog, and when you're running, understand, when you're moving and running, this is where the mind starts to take hold. If you're doing an interaction which is going to bring influence online, so it means if you're running a certain way or exercise a certain way, you're jogging your dog, and you're bringing your dog into position, then that's going to be effective. That's going to help you with your walk. But here, understand, it's all about when you're thinking about taking the walk back. Okay, what you need to understand is, you could be in a routine with your dog. Let's say you want to get your 2 miles in and get your exercise in. When you're looking at this, it's totally different with your dog. Okay, the walk like is already a nightmare and out of control. What we need to do at this point is you need to shrink the walk back. Okay, you need to, with your dog. In fact, what you need is basically starting from scratch and focusing on the mind. Okay, this is what happens. So therefore, because the walk is going to be happening differently now, what I suggest is you start to do these techniques with your dog the way that I described, like with the circle method, and with starting to, do the walk in stages, and then, bring your dog back, and then you go out and complete your exercise that you need. Okay, for could be a couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks before you everything comes together, and you'll be walking with your dog together, and the walk, once the walk all comes together, it's going to be happy, it's going to be fun, it's going to be a enjoyable experience. So this is what this all does. This is meant to bring it all together, so you're going to get what you want from the walk. But understand, you have to bring it back, and you have to focus on meeting the connection side of things, meeting the relational standard here, because understand, to the dog it's life. Okay, even though you're walking, the dog's mind pivots off these relational roles. So how you're perceived within the context of not just the walk as part of an interaction, but the whole thing, my methodology is influencing things in such a dramatic overall way that it's going to impact everything, okay? But the walk is another interaction that you're going to use to impact, not just get that back, okay, but impact the relational roles, getting competition for the role, so we can start to get our dog within that script, so we'll lift the burden of that role off the dog's shoulders. But here, so again, you have to kind of think a little differently as we do it, because like I said, think about exercise more in the context of interaction and life for the dog. So I'm not saying exercise isn't important, okay? But you can get, so the thing is, you lose sight of what with dogs about the relational side of things, because again, you could be, doing things to your dog, and even throwing the ball, the dog is going to take the ball, knock it, come back with it, chew it up. It's because the dog's expressing power. So different forms of what you're doing activity with exercise isn't going to be a pleasant experience, because the dog is going to be within the context of that lead role. So when we're nudging it back, when we're bringing straight in this walk back, and we're starting off, don't worry too much about the exercise, because trust me, and you'll see this. This is very taxing. This is like exercising the dog's mind. That when I do the technique with dogs after like an hour and a half session, the people just do it. The dogs go to sleep for like 2 or 3 hours. They crash, because it's very physically, mentally, because it's mind and body. It's very exhausting, because you're in that dog's world that way, and that dog's into a state of challenge, and it's really different. So don't worry too much about the whole exercise thing, because it's going to come together. Rather, you have to understand what are our goals here. Don't get too caught up in this whole exercise, and people get really routine oriented, but they're not thinking about a dog's needs when it comes to the mind. Okay, this is important. The mind is as important as the body, but both are connected. See, this is the thing, they're interconnected. So you have to get focused on the mind. So again, you want to pull back. Mind and body are connected. About mind and body. So how do we get it back? We need to start to look at the walk differently. So what we're going to do is we're going to incorporate the techniques that you'll see in my videos. I've shown you using the circle method, okay? And so, but when we start off the walk, I'm just going to explain communication here on the walk. Okay, this is, say, you, and this is, okay, your dog, okay? Now, again, on your walk, when you're walking, okay, when you're going to do your walk, you're starting to walk forward, you have to understand that communication is critical. So you have to start to establish lines of, kind of like lines in the sand, where your dog isn't going to advance ahead of you. Okay, I discussed this on my circle method video, but again, what you want to do is you have to have clarity here. So when you're doing this technique, when you're starting to walk out, this is why it's important to start. You need to start strong right from inside the house. So as soon as you put your dog on the leash, it begins. Okay, don't wait and start it out in the drive right away, because here your thing here about distance too. You can't have any preconceived ideas right from the start. All you know is, because for me, this is the thing about training, is because it's working off changing who you are, your personality type. So for example, if I took a walk, tried to walk your dog, I would make it out the front door, because your dog would be on its back, it'd be challenging me, because it's working on my personality type. It's saying, well, there's no way I'm going to let Dale go out and start to walk me, because I own the walk. Okay, the dog is challenging because it knows what's going down. Okay, and it knows I'm going to be bringing it in, reining it into the follower role. It knows, because it feels, it understands, it senses my personality type. It understands those interplays. It understands where my mind is going. But you could make it maybe based on how you're thinking. You could make it out the door and down the street a little ways before it'll still bottom out. Okay, when you meet another dog or whatever, it'll still become a nightmare. But someone, a casual observer, could look at it and say, well, she or he got farther than Dale, and think that that somehow is some sort of a good thing. Well, really, from nature's perspective, it's actually a bad thing, believe it or not, because it's reverse. Because you'll see all this drama, okay, with me, okay, but the dog, because the dog only has two options, okay, either submit, okay, because it knows it's either going to fall into line or it's going to go into a high challenge state and go on its back and a bunch of foolishness. But the thing is, all that drama, I'll have the dog into a solid follower walk in 2 days, and you'll be 3-4 weeks still trying to get it under control, even though appearance driven. Let's see, because that's what it is. It's all based off these interplays. So if it looks, and this is the thing to understand, if it looks too good to be true, it probably is because you're being objectified. Okay, objectified means that you're not a threat to the role. The dog could be walking ahead of you. And see, that's the thing. It'd be like the narcissistic, selfish kid that wants to be around the parent where the word yes is, where they get where it uses the word yes and they get that agenda met. But does that fix anything? Well, no, it makes things worse. And they want to disengage away from, and totally they'll challenge parental authority coming the other way because they already know. But that's what they need. You understand? So it's, you look at parenting, same thing. So you can't always trust appearances, okay? You have to put it to the test. You have to put it in the right relational context. You have to understand behavior. So here, again, when you're starting this technique out, you got to have these clearly established lines in your mind, and that dog, what you want that dog to be is within that zone beside you, okay, in the, we call the heel position, but you want the dog's nose to be back. You want, the dog is by my side. I want to make sure it is peripherally, it's right there in the zone, okay, that it's not ahead of me at all, okay, because again, mind and body, physical, the physical part of this, the dog is ahead of me, then that represents where the mind is at, okay? So we need to get the dog back. And so you're going to have this imaginary box that's going to kind of move along with you, this, what you call it, strike zone or whatever, and you're just going to keep moving the dog, targeting the dog, moving the dog into that, keeping the dog into position, using various techniques such as, the leash, flexing technique, doing these little moments, okay, that's what you're doing here, you're interrupting. Leash flexing technique, okay, you're using that. You're working off the sit position and the push-pull technique. Okay, and you're also going to use the circle method, but you're using a modified version of it once you hit the street, where you're just kind of shooting your leg out, but it works in conjunction with putting the dog back into the sit. And there's times you can use other techniques such as isolate dogs. The dog locks in, okay, and then there's a technique for that which I talk about on the video too. But you're going to put all these techniques come together, okay, and how you use the leash. So you want to keep the leash shorter, okay, but again, you're not just keeping authority constantly over the dog. What you're doing is every time that dog's mind's slipping away, you're nudging, okay, the leash flexing method is meant to nudge, interrupt those states, and you'll notice the dog's head will turn in towards you, and the dog could even be looking, say, up at you. Doesn't have to look up, but just the feeling is but it's like a line coming through you. So this is it. It's like a line coming through you, okay? That's the feeling, okay? The dog's head is going to turn into you, okay? And it's like, so what it is you're not being, objectified. It's starting to decrease, okay? It's starting to decrease, although you're being objectified, because what you're doing is you're bringing influence over the dog's mind, okay? So if there's another dog or situation, and this is the other thing about when you do this, okay, you want to establish boundaries, okay? Everything's controlled. So if there's another dog, I'll make sure that dog, of course you can't anticipate everything, I understand that,
but the best you can, you kind of set it, because this is what it is, it's a controlled exercise. All this is a controlled exercise. That's how you have to look at this, as a controlled exercise, because your goal is to have an impact on the dog's decision-making process. So I'm applying these techniques again. Everything's controlled. So if I'll start now, I'm going to make sure the dog, or I'm keeping a distance, but so I'll have it later. I don't want my dog that I'm starting a role change. I don't want to get too close to the situation, at least initially. Every day I'll be getting a little closer every day, but see what I'm doing is just like I'm opening the door up a crack. So right here, for example, I'm opening that door up, that window, to see that other dog a crack, and then I'm shutting again. I'm shutting it to the technique, to the methodology. So I'm just kind of tempting the dog's mind, opening the door up a crack, and I'm flexing. Okay, so even when I'm doing this is the thing. It's like an echo. If you look over, understand, if you look over at that other dog or situation, what it's doing is it's like it's bouncing right back. Okay, your state of mind is bouncing right back to your dog. So if you look at a dog or situation, you have thoughts in your head, okay, like, oh no, or something bad's going to happen here, or uncertainty. Your dog feels that. That's a state of weakness. That's going to be empowering to your dog. So one of the big things here is it's self-discipline of your mind. Okay? And you have to learn to control it. So it's about controlling your thought processes. Okay? Everything comes to you. So you're in the moment, you're projecting a state of certainty, confidence. What this represents here, and I'm going to keep writing back and forth here as we do this, it's a new day. I mean, it's a new day. Even if you had a bad moment with the dog, say you flexed or whatever going on, you have to immediately just release that baggage and you're into another new moment. Okay, your dog, if you hold on to baggage, emotional baggage, your thoughts, or certain ways of thinking, the dog picks up on that. Okay, and that's very empowering to the dog. Okay, it's weakness. So you have to. I know this is something we have to develop. It's like a pillar. And I'll talk about my other videos here. I'm gonna, my training program I'm developing or have developed. It's part of a 4-pillar program, and one of those pillars is the ability to control how you think. Okay, it's a pillar. So you have to control how you think. You got to keep your mind in a state of certainty. Okay, and just leading. Okay, but there's always a calmness to this. So confident, you're calm, because that's the thing about the leash and these techniques. It allows you to do that because you have your leash technique going the right way, then I'm good to go. If the dog is twisting or moving, I'm moving a certain way, but I'm already at that point where I'm ready for this part, but I'm not panicked or anything because I'm always in control. Okay, and the dog feels that. So if you unravel, you start to unravel in certain situations, your dog's going to unravel. Okay, just try to keep that in mind. So it's like an echo going back and forth. So what I'm going to say about that is don't invest. Okay, what I do is I'm able to control my thinking. I'll look just peripherally. I'll look only to gauge how far I am away from whatever it is. And then I'll know if I have to move a few feet away, but never out of fear or weakness. Understand when you do this, I'm very indifferent. The dog never senses from me. There's something you got to control your thinking. If I'm moving, it's very hard to do for people, but if I'm moving, or even if I'm turning, if I have to move away, the dog's not getting anything from me in terms of fear, weakness, any sort of doubt. Okay, I'm just moving. Okay, because in fact, what the dog senses from me is the dog likely I'm not in control. Because I'm going to be up over the next day, closer to whatever that is. Okay, because this is not about avoidance; it's about overcoming everything. So when you're moving, and when you're looking at something, do not invest into that. Okay, that's just an object. I don't care. I tell people I don't care if it's a freight train going through my backyard. I own it. Okay, I own it. That's the feeling. That's what the dog perceives from me all the time. is I don't invest that way. And that's how you're really going to be successful quick, is just to disengage that way. Okay, everything's just coming through me. I own everything. So even when you do these techniques, and when I'm pushing, I'm leash flexing, I'm saying to myself, I own. I own. So you want to repeat that verbiage to yourself. Okay, when you're doing it, you know, you want to say, I own. Okay, because again, I own whatever it is. Doesn't matter if it's another dog, situation, whatever, I own it. So again, when you're starting to walk out, again, it's communications, keeping those lines defined, putting your dog back in the position. Okay, don't let your dog go ahead of you whatsoever. And when you're doing your walk, so if you're going down the street, say, and you're doing your walk, okay, I'll know, for example, if another dog is coming up the street towards me this way, and I'm coming down, say, this way, okay, I'll know. I don't want my dog going face on, because I want to be able to interrupt. That's when your dog, this is the thing with dogs locking eyes and stuff, because then your dog is going to, what your dog is doing all the time, he's wrapping influence around, okay, other situations. Like he's wrapping his mind around things. Okay, you can tell from the tension, from the ears, and how you have to start picking up on those signals. So what I'll do is, I'll move, okay, to this side, not out of fear, but I'm going to move to this side here, like this. So then your dog's going to turn their head that way a little bit, okay, to wrap their mind around, and then what I can do is I can interrupt that, because then I can see it more clearly. So, because what you want to do here, because the focus is for you to have a impact on your dog's decision making. You have to interrupt these states because it's relational. Your dog is objectifying you just from that. Okay, they're there in the body, but they're gone in mind. So you have to start to set things in motion. So I'll move to this side of the road, okay, so I can see. Or in some situations, I'll actually turn and face the opposite direction depending on the situation. So then my dog's going to fully try to turn around on me, and then I get really good clarity. I'm like, okay, what do you do? Okay, no way, through me. So I'll interrupt, and then it's game on, right? Because then it's really that's what you need to do. You need to set it up so it's easier for you to see these states of mind on display, so you can interrupt them. But definitely how you work out your walk and these techniques, it's always a control, it's always an exercise, okay, to your advantage, because your focus is on just focusing on creating these follower moments, okay, and getting that feeling, your dog's mind is slipping away, is knowing how to interrupt it. So it's all about laying out, again, here situation could be another dog over here behind a fence, okay, I'll be on this side of the street, okay, walking, I might just hesitate there. But be careful that you don't want to purposely aggravate the other dog. I mean, they could kick up a little bit, but in these controlled settings, I'll stop just for the moment, and then I'll keep walking, but when I stop and hover there just for a second, I'm just focused on interrupting, okay? I'm not focused on anything but create my moments. But again, sometimes too, what you're going to do is, and this is the other technique, is if you're flexing, it's not having any impact, okay, and your dog is really engaged, what you need is baby steps forward. Walk forward just 2 or 3 feet and then resit your dog. What that will do, that will rock your dog's mind out of it. Okay? And I call that technique kind of like this is funny here to see. You can't chew bubble gum. You can't chew bubble gum and talk at the same time, okay? So that's what you'd be thinking. So, for example, if you're standing there and you're flexing and it's not having any impact, your dog's really kicking up, what you want to do is move forward a few feet and then resit your dog right away. What it does is it kind of rocks their brain out of that. It changes their focus. Because I'm not playing their game, okay? I'm just focused on technique, so I'm disengaging, okay? So here, they can't chew bubble gum and talk at the same time. It means that they cannot hold it together if I'm just focused on it, because they can't, okay? They can't hold it together because there's no way they can maintain that type of engagement because I'm just focused on my techniques, okay? So again, it's all about focus on these techniques, but definitely what you're going to be doing here too is, if I'm late, and this is the thing, if your house is say here, okay, and you're starting to walk, you have to start it in stages. So the first day, I might just end up doing the circle walk near my driveway, okay? First couple of days, 2 or 3 days, maybe circle walk. Then I'm going to start hitting the street, I'm going to go down, but again, I'm only going to go maybe, say 4 or 5 houses down, and then I'm going to stop, come back, okay? So, but every day I'm going further and further and further. That's how you build up your walk the right way, though, making sure your dog is right back and all these techniques. That's how you build up your walk, okay? And your focus has to be really good. So keep your dog beside you, really, right there, right in the zone, coming through you. But that's how you work the walker. Before you know it, you're at your 3 miles again, and and then you're almost thinking, at some point, perhaps you're not going to do it in your neighborhood. You want to keep your dog on the leash and all that. But just saying, with these techniques, it's always about advancing forward. Okay, it's not about avoidance. Okay, it's about overcoming everything. And the walk itself, it's how you work it out. You want to start strong, you want to end strong. You always want to try to end on a good note. Don't do the walk when you're frustrated, you're tired. You want to do it when you had a cup of coffee. You're rested. You have 10 minutes, say 15 minutes of a really good focus, and then you want to hit the street. But the circle method is important. You want to do that inside the house, backyard. You want to get that, that's used to lay the foundation stones. So I start to hit the street with the walk. But again, understand these relational triggers, okay? I have a video on the relational triggers, how your dog's mind has attached itself to certain situations. Okay, that can be deeply entrenched. So, therefore, keep that in mind as you're doing the walk. I mean, it's about overcoming, but it could take, depending on how deeply entrenched this power is in this role, how long the dog has had to build up these associations. It can take a while to you start to disengage from that, but the key, the real focus is on what you're doing. I mean, you are don't be fooled. You're the agent of change. You're the solution. You're the key. And so, if the dog is not getting anything from your end, okay, the behavior, these associations will start to fade away. Just like kind of instead of a stream, a focused stream, it starts to come almost like a mist. Okay, just you see, it comes almost from bad intentions to kind of behavioral. Okay, it's like a mist, and then it starts fading. But depending on how entrenched that is, that can take a while. But the key is you got to shut down your end. Okay, you have to make sure that's why controlling how you think, self-discipline of your mind, applying these techniques properly, and just working on it. Getting comfortable with it. But again, having that structure in place as you're doing it, that gives you the advantage. It gives you the ability to, and even when you're doing the leash technique, when I say how you hold the leash, if a dog is twisting and turning a little bit, having the leash technique, what does, it gives you the benefit of everything's always in control. Okay, so you can always kind of relax. I mean, that's the thing about getting the techniques really good, getting really good with the leash and how to move the leash, with kinetics, so that I'm not unraveling. Okay, I'm always got it together. You have to develop that, though. It takes time, but just over time you start to develop it. So just something to think about in the walk. I know there's, just watch my other videos. It'll all kind of come together for you. I know it's quite a bit of technique, but you want just to keep it simple. You want the core things going on, and that's the communication, that boxed area described. Make sure the dog is not walking heady on the walk, and don't think distance. Think about the mind instead of body right now. Think about the relational part of it. Okay. So anyway, I hope this video is helpful. Have a great day.